What's going on, people? What's going on? Welcome one, welcome all. I am Jermaine McCrimmon, and this is Humanity Unplugged podcast. And we have a lot to talk about today. Hopefully, you guys are having a great evening and you had a great day. I'm recording this episode 136 late. It's probably 8 o'clock at night. And normally I don't do things this late, but I just had to get in the studio and talk to you guys about a few things. All day, I've been busy doing what I do, but I just could not see what I wanted to talk about and what I wanted to give y'all any good information on. So I was stuck. As they would say, as a content creator, you know, you try to give out good, positive stuff that people can take and share and go with. And sometimes your mind goes blank. I don't like to talk about gossip. I don't talk about relationships. I really stay out of all the Housewife of Atlanta conversations and things as such. I like to give you content, stuff that you can actually sit there and talk about amongst your friends or family. And on this episode 136, can we please just get along? We're going to talk about a few different things going on in our world. We like to thank all of our sponsors, all of our supporters, all the countries and continents that share our material, and also for those of our loyal listeners that's been with us since day one. This is our second year running through, and we have a lot of information out there, a lot of episodes that we have put together. Um, I like to welcome you to come in and take off your shoes, put up your feet, relax, get you something cold and refreshing. Some people might go for something cold. I like my coffee. Everybody knows me for my coffee, and I got my coffee. So we're going to talk about a few things, and then I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to hold you very much, and hopefully you could take this information and do as you wish with it. It's my information, it's my thought, my theory on what I believe is going on, and you could take it and do what you like with it. But just remember, guys, we are so blessed to be in the situation we in. Even though we have Trump as our president and things are at an all-time high, God still provides. He takes the time to look out for the highs and the lows, the rich and the poor, the medium, the tall, the short. He'll look out for you. I challenge you to find a deeper faith and connect with that faith and be on one accord with it, and God will show you Himself. So now we're gonna get into it. I'm not gonna hold you guys long. Um, it's been bothering me to talk about this topic only because it's been going on for so long. It's like it's always there, it's low hanging fruit, as some people would say. It's not going anywhere, and this particular war I'm talking about, costs us, the American people, more than anything because Russia and Ukraine, they just can't share a happy meal and call it a day. No, they can't. They got to argue and they got to fight over nothing. And then we'll get these commercials where the people of Ukraine are begging American people to send money and donate because of the damage that Russia has caused them. And it causes us damage because our prices go up, and also um, things are the way they are because we just can't get along. So I'm going to give you all this information, and here we go. Don't hold it. Don't take it personal. This is just what we got to deal with right now in 2026. So hopefully we can deal with it and move on with our life. Here we go.
This has been the biggest sustained attack on Ukraine since the war began. Wave after wave after wave of devastating Russian drone and missile attacks across the country. More than 1,600 in total since Wednesday night. This video showing a drone slamming into a railway yard close to President Zelensky's hometown, Kryvyi Rih. Putin's military striking energy, water, and transport infrastructure, but also hitting residential buildings. The capital, Kyiv, repeatedly hit. This 9-story residential building collapsing after a Russian drone strike.
Can you imagine we go to war and some of the big cities, buildings, condominiums, condos get hit by missiles by our enemy and destroy, and lives are lost, and first responders are responding, and we're just in a chaos. Can you guys imagine that happening over here in the United States? It's very hard to imagine someone going through every day being in war and don't know while you're sleeping, in the shower, cooking, a missile or drone may attack your complex or attack where you live at and take the building down. So for all the innocent people that are involved that just go to work and come home, and now you got to deal with missing bodies, people missing. Your last time you seen your aunt, your grandmother, your father was in the kitchen, and now the kitchen is no longer there. Matter of fact, the whole side of the building is missing, and you don't know if they're alive or gone. All because of people just can't get along. I just take the moment, guys. I really ask that you take the moment and thank God for what you have. And it might not be much in your eyes, but look at people that's been doing worse than what you're in, worst predicament that you're in.
Rescue workers scrambling through the debris, searching for survivors. At least 20 sites suffering damage in the city, including a school, according to President Zelensky. At least 15 killed and more than 130 injured across the country. Vladimir Putin using the cover of the Trump-Xi summit to launch this devastating attack. Unusually, the barrage saw hundreds of drones attack Ukraine throughout the daylight hours, before overnight Russia following up with nearly 50 missiles. Zelensky in a post saying the attack showed the hollowness of Putin's comments last weekend, suggesting the war could be finishing, saying these are definitely not the actions of those who believe the war is coming to an end. Meanwhile, Russia on the back foot on the battlefield, losing tens of thousands of soldiers every month, killed or wounded, and failing to advance.
Well, we're just hearing at least 20 people are missing in Kyiv under that collapsed building, so we should expect the death toll to rise further. This attack, of course, coming amid signs that things are starting to turn against Putin in this war. A string of recent polls showing his approval rating has fallen to its lowest since the invasion. Russia, of course, is losing tens of thousands of men every month. The economy's suffering, and he's making no headway on the battlefield. For now, though, there is no end in sight, but the pressure on Russia appears to be growing.
And you know what's so sad, guys, about this whole thing? Russia, the army of Russia, has not increased their position on Ukraine in over a year. I'll say it again. The army of Russia, the mighty army of Russia, has not increased their grounds on Ukraine in over a year. Ukraine is very strong. They are on point, and they're just killing these soldiers left and right. They can't move forward. If you see the carnage of all the damage that's been done and all of the machinery just blew up and left on the side of the road, Russia's not winning. It's so sad. I'm going to give you another clip. Because, this is what's going on over there. And they want to do better. They're trying to do better, but to what avail? Check this out.
One of the fiercest air assaults of the war. Across 2 relentless days, skies flashed with drones, missiles, and air raid sirens. The strikes left at least about 17 people dead and more than 120 others injured. The Ukrainian Air Force has said that Russia had fired more than 1,500 drones at Ukraine in the span of the last 36 hours. Our next report tells you more as to what is happening at this moment in the Ukrainian battlefield.
So in the last 36 hours, 1,500 drones have been sent from Russia on Ukraine. 1,500 drones air attack. Now, guys, for my long-term listeners that know, I did an article on these drones before this happened. I don't know what episode it is, but I got an episode where we talked about how these drones would be used in the next and upcoming war. And it has come to fruition.
The warning sirens screamed first, then came the sound that has become all too familiar across Ukraine. The buzz overhead, the rush to shelters, the wait for impact. For 2 straight days, the skies over Ukraine turned into a battlefield. Wednesday rolled into Thursday without respite. Daylight attacks flowed into overnight strikes. The pressure never eased. Then the scale became clear.
The sound was unbelievable. The sound of something moving at very high speed. It felt like the whole building was shaking, you know. Windows and glass flying everywhere. And it felt like the house was collapsing. It really felt like the building was falling.
All the glass, all the furniture fell. Everything collapsed. Everything was blown apart by the blast wave. The window frames were twisted out. I got up, not even sure if I was alive or not. I guess I am, since I'm talking to you. Then I started running barefoot over the glass.
The numbers paint a stark picture. Wednesday saw 41 missiles and 652 drones involved in the assault. Thursday brought another wave, with nearly 800 drones reportedly entering the battle space. The images coming out are dramatic. Rescue teams digging through shattered concrete, smoke pouring from residential blocks, broken windows hanging over streets littered with debris.
I heard something flying. It's flying nearby. I think, Lord, where will it fall? And then there was such a terrible sound, and our house, which is opposite, jumped and staggered. I saw the hit with my own eyes, and then I looked. There is a gap between these 2 buildings which wasn't there before. There was something between them before, and now such a tragedy has happened.
Emergency workers in Ukraine's Kyiv region removed an unexploded missile warhead lodged inside a residential building. This latest escalation also comes as Ukraine has continued its own long-range drone operations deep inside Russian territory, targeting military and strategic sites. Both sides are increasingly stretching the battlefield far beyond the front lines. Bureau Report, WION, World.
And now, who fixes this? Who gets up the carnage? Who pays for the rehabilitation of Ukraine? Who gets it back together? How are these people supposed to survive? At what cost do this causes other people's grief? Well, I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why these type of things are in place where you got to just go at it like that. That's like New York going to war with Manhattan. If you don't know, Manhattan is in the heart of New York City. So it's stupid. Y'all just need to work it out. What's the issue? What's the real beef? No one's talking about it. No one's saying anything because we can't come together. Just can't do it together. It's crazy. I got to give you some another one. This is a sick story recap. I just got to give you this because I thought this was really stupid. You know, no reason for this. Listen up.
An Army warrant officer convicted of raping 2 women will spend decades in prison.
Investigators say he used a dating app under a false name. They say it was to hide who he was, and they believe there could be other victims. Our Shelby Myers explaining what she's learning.
And Shelby, investigators are urging more potential victims to come forward.
Yeah, that's right, Lenise and Cameron. The Army Criminal Investigation Division says Warrant Officer Dawson Van Manen posed as Second Lieutenant David Johnson. That's what he went by on a dating app, using that false identity to target women. A military court martial convicted him of both rapes.
So all this war is going on all over the world. And we have a military guy that got to act like he's somebody else just to get a date. Just to go out on a date, he got to pose himself as somebody else on a dating app.
Investigators believe there could be more victims. And we want to warn you, the details in this case are disturbing. Investigators say one assault happened in August of 2024 at a hotel near NAS Pensacola. Prosecutors say the woman met Van Manen through a dating app, not knowing he was using a false name. He also checked into the hotel under that alias. After the attack, the victim went to a hospital where medical staff collected evidence.
This is a U.S. Army guy. I hate to say it. U.S. Army guy posing as somebody else, raping people.
A nurse testifying the victim's injuries were the worst she had seen in her career. A second woman then reported a separate rape that investigators say happened in 2023 near Fort Rucker, what is now known as Fort Novosel, where Van Manen was based. Prosecutors described that assault as violent. The victim was bound, her mouth duct taped shut, and the assault was recorded by Van Manen. While under investigation for both rapes, authorities say Van Manen violated orders by leaving post to meet yet another woman. Van Manen will serve his 31-year sentence at the U.S. Disciplinary Barracks at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. He was dishonorably discharged from the Army and will be required to register as a sex offender upon release. Now, if you have any information about this case, you can contact the Army CID through the agency's tip line. I
got to stop it there. And he going to do Army time, not regular Fed time. He going to do military time at the barracks. You know, he going to be behind that wall. HUD 2 3, HUD 2 3. He going to be, you know, he raping people with the uniform on. Dishonorable discharge. Woo. And he got to register as a sex offender after he do 31. And he going to do 31. He might do 33 for good measures. We ain't got nothing else to do. You mean you can't just go out on a date somewhere as yourself? You too embarrassed of who you are as a person that you can't be on a dating app? Your rank is that high? It ain't that high, bruh. Please, you can have a private life. That you come under an alias and then you rape the person? You bound them with tape, gagged their mouth? Ooh-hoo. This boy was in it, knee deep. I don't know, guys. I don't know. You mean to tell me military didn't know nothing? No inkling of this man wasn't right? No psychological eval ever done on him for them to see if this man had all his marbles lined up? He didn't show no type of offset? Nothing? Well, I got one more for you guys, and this is going to be good news. But I'm just saying, when it rains, it pours, right? When it rains, it pours. At least we got this to talk about. This is something happy, something good.
New at noon, Charles McNear is now a free man. He walked out of the Randolph Correctional Center this morning. You can see that video right there behind me, and you're going to see him embrace a friend as he's walking out. And McNear has been in prison for decades after being accused of rape. Aaron Burnett was there when this all happened and explains why the state granted him release.
As you could hear there, Charles McNair had few words. He thanked God before getting into the truck with family members and driving away, but you could see the joy on his face as he walked out of the prison. And you could actually hear inmates as well just cheering for him and congratulating him as he walked out a free man. When McNair was 16 years old, he was accused of breaking into the home of a white woman in her 50s and raping her in Davidson County.
Let me tell you something. Y'all know how many men that are incarcerated are young boys at 16 that was incarcerated, 14 that's incarcerated doing 40, 50-year bids for a crime they probably never committed, but due to the time they were coming up, racism and the way it was, they just blackmailed a lot of people or just did people so dirty back in those days. This man went to jail when he was 16 years old. He did over 40 years in prison. 40 years. At least he still has his life. He's still living. But what do you owe a person that been to jail when he was 16 for no reason? Falsely accused.
In November 1979, he pled guilty to second-degree rape. He has been serving a life sentence ever since. Over the past 46 years, we've been there as his family, friends, and advocacy groups have continued to call for his release, maintaining that he was wrongfully incarcerated. Last week, though, the North Carolina Post-Release Supervision and Parole Commission approved his release. The Lexington Police Department originally led the investigation on the case, and they say they no longer have the files for these charges. McNair is now 63 years old, but declined to speak, as well as his uncle, who was one of the family members picking him up.
63 years old. He got arrested when he was 16. He is now 63 for something he didn't even do. Let that sink in, guys. You go to jail at 16. Your first date, your first prom, graduation, learner's permit, your first meal you cook for yourself probably. Your first job. How about girls? Your first check. Cell phone. All the things we take advantage of, this man never experienced. He's gone. 16. He gets out, he's 63. Retribution. I'm just Jermaine McCrimmon. My conclusion, can we all just get along? Can we stop all the violence? Can we respect each other? Can we put God first? Can we pray for one another? Let's try that. I'm your host. Protect yourself at all times. God bless. Peace.